Hey gang, welcome to episode 13 of That New Toy Smell. I'm Devall.
And I'm Pixel Dan, and we have got a ton of great stuff for you in this episode. And we're going to go ahead and kick things off right away as Devall and I take a look at one of our favorite old toy lines, the Sectaurs. Let's get into it.
Yeah!
Somewhere in space, somewhere in time exists a planet called Symbion. Frightening changes have taken place on this planet, the result of which is a world where insects and arachnids grow to frightening proportions. A world where the inhabitants have taken on the characteristics of these insects and arachnids. And on this world, Prince Dargon, ruler of the shining realm of Presperon, and his allies are in a constant conflict with the forces of Empress Devora, ruler of the dark domain of Synax, for possession of the fortress known as the Hive, which they are said to hold the key to ultimate power. Oh God. This is the story of the Sectaurs, a line of action figures released by Coleco in 1985, and what an amazing, awesome, in-depth story it is. This is one of those lines of toys which have a rich, deep story, despite the fact they didn't have a successful cartoon series like most toys of this era did. The attempt at a cartoon series lasted a mere 5 episodes, leaving the story and promotion of these characters to be fully backed by a series of Marvel comics and television commercials advertising the figures to children.
It's a line of toys that are easily overlooked and forgotten. But don't let that mistakenly fool you into thinking that these are bad toys, because they are far from it. In fact, these toys took the general idea of good versus evil and the general action figure blueprints of including vehicles and playsets and warped them into something unique and original. The figures themselves are pretty big compared to most toys of the time, standing around 8 inches tall. Each came with a slew of weapons and came packaged with their own insect or arachnid creature companion that the character was said to be telebonded with. The figures were usually painted with a really cool, almost metallic paint deco, and were really detailed.
One thing to notice is that while for the most part you can tell who the good guys and the bad guys are supposed to be, all of these figures definitely have a very dark feel to them. I mean, there's no bright colors and really no happy expressions on their faces. These toys just feel very serious. Rather than having vehicles in this toy line, some of the creature companions were big enough for the Sectaurs to ride on as their steeds. And this is where the line gets really unique. These creatures worked like hand puppets. They all had a glove that you could slip your hand into at the bottom of the creature, and your fingers would then act as the creature's leg. The idea is really neat and actually makes the creatures kind of creepy.
The Sectaurs also had one of the largest playsets of any action figure line, the Hive. This playset stands almost 3 feet tall. Talk about massive. This is one playset that is still pretty hard to come by these days. If you end up finding it, be willing to pay a hefty price. But it is one sweet looking setup.
Unfortunately, the Sectaurs never quite made it past the initial wave of figures. A second series was planned, but unfortunately never made it past the prototype stages. And now there are a few theories to what caused the failure of the line. One, of course, is that they just didn't have a good cartoon to back them up, as we mentioned earlier.
But also, with most of these figures being a little dark in nature, they were a tad off-putting. Even the good guys and their bug companions came off as, well, ugly. and it probably stopped parents from wanting to buy them for their children. It really is a shame, because the Sectaurs is one excellent line of action figures. Who knows, maybe one day we'll be lucky enough to see the return of Prince Dargon and the Warriors of Symbion.